provide expeditious justice in Pakistan. So today a lot of people will be joining us, and we don't have a guest speaker today. So the purpose of this conference is that we have been working on training lawyers. Khatanas Law Chamber has been working on training lawyers, and now it has been working on transforming the system of the courts to e-system, electronic system. And we are also working on preparing softwares for it, and which are going to be launched soon. So I hope all of you would contribute in today's conference, and I would introduce Mr. Zafar Kalanori. He's also working with us on the same concept, and I would request him to say a few words after some time. And to start off the conference, I would request Mr. Anik Khatana, who is the managing partner, to say a few words and introduce his concept to the audience. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Gurkulen. First of all, thank you very much, all of you, for taking your time out and attending this conference. I'm very happy that you have been attending all of these conferences from last 4 or 5 conferences, and we have been trying to achieve something which is really important for Pakistan. Also, I would also like to thank you for being with us from last 5 years and completing this journey where we have reached today. As you all know, that the topic today under discussion is related to that why or how we can help our courts to run in a digitalized manner, and how can they use it, how can they use technology to provide expeditious justice. We have made 2 softwares which are not available in the market but should be out in 2 days, and we are ready to launch it in order to help our honorable courts and the Bar Council. We are trying to maintain and make a bridge between Bar Council and the courts for its smooth running. Before we introduce and launch our 2 apps which are going to be helpful for Pakistan, I would really like to take all of your intake and suggestions. So if we are making any mistake, or if there is something that need to be improved, we do that before representing that software and the team of 120 lawyers and experts who are working with us from last 5 years to the High Court and the other institutions in Pakistan. So this discussion is designed for everybody. We don't want a guest speaker, but we want everyone to be a guest and a contributor in this conference. And we will note down all the points that we are going to discuss in this conference, because we have to put forward to the high courts in the country. So which is why I request all of you to please, even whoever join us tomorrow or day after tomorrow, please do your research, study about it, study about the other jurisdiction, those are available and who are using e-filing and other systems. So we'll be able to assist our honorable courts and bars in an effective manner. So thank you very much for joining us today. Please take responsibility of your words. And before wasting any time, I would request Ms. Nadia, who is joining us as the Finance Secretary of Punjab government, who has also a legal background. So I would request her to please shed some light on the topic, and then we'll move forward to the other expert people who are joining the conference today. Thank you. Over to you, Ms. Nadia. We can't hear you. I think your mic is on mute. Ms. Nadia, we can't hear you. Okay, I believe there is something wrong with Ms. Nadia's microphone. Okay, while she is fixing while she is fixing her mic, I would request Ms. Nisa Piracha, or I'll just, yeah. Can you hear me, Ms. Nisa Piracha? Yeah, would you like to say something about the topic, and then we'll proceed from there?
Ms. Disa Piracha, can you hear me? I think your mic is on mute. Would you like to say a few words before? Yeah. Okay. Okay. So I would like to give introduction of Ms. Disa Piracha. She is working with FBR. She's the assistant commissioner in FBR. So Ms. Nisa Piracha, would you like to say a few words on the topic that we're discussing today? I think her mic is on mute.
Okay, no problem. I must say the government response is always very slow, so it's
Perfectly
perfectly
fine.
fine.
Uh,
But we
but
lawyers
we
are
lawyers
also
are
very
also
slow,
very
but
slow,
this
but
time
this
we
time
are
we
just
are
trying
just
to
trying to
fill this
fill
gap.
this gap.
So
So
I think,
I think,
as
as
always,
always,
we should
we
give
should give
opportunity to
opportunity
Mrs.
to
Zafar
Mrs. Zafar
Kalanori,
Kalanori,
who
who
is
is
senior amongst
senior
all of
amongst all
us,
of
and
us
you've
and
been leading this
leading
journey from last
from last
5 years.
5 years.
So I would
I would
request
request
Mr.
Mr.
Zafar
Zafar
Kalanori to start
Kalanori
with the topic, and then the government
government
officials
officials
and
and
other
other
experts
experts
can
can
start with
start
their
with their
takes.
takes.
Sir Zafar
Sir, Zafar
Kalanori, over
Kalanori,
to you.
over to you.
Bismillah Rahman Rahim. First of all, I congratulate you that you are taking stakeholders on board. And government is a necessary stakeholder in this case. And it is heartening to see that we are widening our scope and taking all kinds of people on board. Before talking about this software of yours, I want to give you one overview with regard to the system. When you are talking about the legal system or the judicial system which is in place, of course, it is under some rules and law under which we are filing cases, we are dealing with cases, and as they say, we are all creatures of a statute. And the judges cannot go beyond that, we cannot go beyond that, so we are bound by the rules. As far as present rules are concerned, I have looked at them minutely, being a reformist of law and being associated with so many reforms. I don't think the present rules which are in place at the judicial system level, whether you talk about Supreme Court or High Court or district courts, they do not cater to the needs of e-filing as such, what to talk about the trials. So first of all, what we'll have to do is, we will have to frame new rules and create a room for e-filing. What they are doing at the moment is only doing hearings, and physically we file the cases by going to the registrar office, fulfilling all the requirements which are there. And in turn, what they do is they scan those files and they put it before the judge through the Chief Justice who entrusts that particular case to someone. First of all, let me tell you, there are like 800 new institutions in Lahore High Court alone with regard to fresh cases. So when these fresh cases are concerned, you are going to move into a system. I couldn't agree more with the fact that you need to develop a system, software and a portal also, like FBR has. But that is simple thing. That is not very difficult, because what we are doing is we are filing income tax returns or sales tax returns on that portal. Here we are initiating a legal process, setting a legal process in motion. For that particular purpose, we ought to have a portal to which everyone will not have access. Only those lawyers or people without lawyers maybe even should be given a smart card. Like we have a CC number in the High Court, they can enter into the system. Once they enter into the system, they do the e-filing. Now, e-filing is also twofold. One, the pleadings, like we file a writ petition or we file a suit, it is to be accompanied by a number of documents, and those documents have to be uploaded in PDF format, right? And for that particular purpose, again, it has to be a very user-friendly, where most of the lawyers who don't have any clue to these technologies, they need to be trained on that also. And if they cannot, I gave a concept in my paper that you should outsource it. We should have facilitation centers, and those should be recognized by the courts, and they provide help to those lawyers who are not. Once you are in the system, the other person who again comes into the system, he and then those documents which are to be filed, these are dictated by court fee. Court fee. There is nothing on the house. You have to pay a certain fee, and there are certain charges for filing a particular kind of pleading also. So we have to develop this portal in a way that we can do it through, online. Right now, we are purchasing court fee, and physically we provide those court fee. So then we have to have a linkage between the financial side of the judiciary, where these court fee and these charges go. So this portal should include that one also. Then the administrative staff who is to deal with it, they are to deal with it. The counsels in the case are to deal with it. The administrative staff are to be trained. Then judges, maybe an extra hour, there is advantage to it. I think we can speed up things, but there has to be a strong case management process, how to fix cases. So the software that we have with regard to fixation of cases and the case management, that also has to have a linkage with this one also, right? Otherwise we may, mess it up the way we messed up the Lahore fixation of case system, and PITB, they were playing this role, but they had no clue to the legal terminologies even. And we spent like more than 50 crore rupees, and we are still suffering because of that. And there are aftershocks of that system. We could have done it at our own level. Previous one was all right. We are doing it with the help of the staff we have employed in the High Court. We have like 29 people employed. 7 of them are PhDs. We have to take them on board also. And then we introduce it. I say it with full force. Don't introduce the system in all kind of cases. Do it by way of pilot projects and class of cases. With experience, you will learn and then expand it. This is what the whole world has done. You cannot employ it. And what to talk of recording of evidence, that is a big deal. That is not very easy. It will come with the passage of time. Maybe we have Lahore as a model district where we have these e-courts and we learn by experience. This is what I wanted to say. Perfectly all right. You are developing it on your own. But the people who are concerned with it, the stakeholders, funding is going to come from the government. And they are not on board. They are to be taken on board. The judiciary, they should be on board. They are not taking you on board. The bar associations, they have to be on board. They are the persons who are responsible. Then there are other stakeholders like police authorities, like jail authorities. They also have to be on board. And then the litigants who are suffering the pangs of the system, they should also be heard. And there should be a debate in the media also. Don't do it all of a sudden by just one stroke of pen. People don't understand what is the difference between e-filing and e-mailing. They are confusing the two. This is a big idea. I
would like to add something. From the Islamabad High Court, and I was amazed to see that again they are using the e-mailing facility and they are advertising it as the e-filing facility. They are using the third-party softwares and they are assuming that they are doing something which is required abhi ke time pe. So we have to make them understand that there is a difference between e-filing and emailing. So before we move forward, I have so many things to share with all of you, but I would like to take an intake of the government, someone from the government side, so they can contribute to tell us that what are their plans or what they are thinking to help the Bar Council and the judiciary. So over to you, Ms. Nadia. Again, your mic is on mute. Your mic is on mute. Could you please unmute your mic? Ms. Nadia, your mic is on mute. Please unmute it.
Yes. I've done it before.
You have to unmute it again. Now we can hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, now we can hear you.
I'm glad you can hear me. Thank you very much for inviting me. I was thoroughly enjoying Mr. Kalanore's views about how the procedural part of what will be done through e-filing and how it has to be done and the stakeholders involvement and everything. But I thought that probably we are actually losing sight of the topic, which is, will digitization help in expeditious delivery of justice? We have experienced digitization in the government in many areas, particularly FBR. You have seen that it has done really well in terms of digitization. I think it's very helpful for the taxpayers. But uh, what I can tell you for sure is that digitization can help as an idea if it is successfully implemented, but it is only helpful to a willing administrator. Do you understand what I'm saying? I hope I can make it clear, but uh, the willing administrator can certainly gain a lot from it, because yes, you will be able to. Although I do not understand the procedural part of the judicial system, I can still say that as an administrator, the High Court will be, or for that matter, any other superior or law court, they'll be able to track filing, track the process of the trial, and how long has it been there. I think in that sense, yes, maybe, but that again depends on the will of the administrator. And digitization, to my understanding, as I've seen it being implemented in many parts of the government, in many areas, it has been implemented in the establishment division. It has been massively implemented, as I've already shared with you. FPR, everybody is aware of that. It has been implemented in many other departments as well. But what we have seen clearly is it helps only the willing administrators. Otherwise, as the head changes, things change. So if you intend to use public money for a massive venture like that, please be mindful of the fact that eventually it is going to be in the hands of the operators. And if the operator is willing, and I wouldn't say educated, I would again say has the intent to implement and has the intent to track the trial procedures and has the intent to see where is the pendency, so that in the traditional system where there's files, you can hide things in files and you may not get to see, as a well-meaning administrator, you may not get to see data which is missing. And I was only recently seeing the number of a writ petition during the first quarter of the year, and it is mounting. Having running a number of writ petitions running into millions in the first quarter, second quarter of the year, means that there's a lot of pendency. I mean, this is not manageable. So definitely digitization would help, but please be mindful, I would say again, before making a decision of public money on that, please be mindful of the fact that a lot will depend upon the administrator. Secondly, there was this, Mr. Kalanori again rightfully pointed out certain snags by PITB, but please again note that whenever we decide to design a digitization plan for the law courts, the domain expert will remain the lawyers and the bar and the judiciary, or the law officers, by whatever name called. So for all practical purposes, PITB does and should let the domain experts take lead for designing the processes. All they're going to do is give you technical help. But again, Anik, I don't know how far it has gone, because I'm not aware of any project which is being undertaken by PITB or by the courts, by the Lahore High Court. I'm not aware of any project for digitization. I think it would be a massive project if it is there, and it will entail a lot of, heavy costs. Please remember that we're going through very, very bad time. Fiscal space is very limited due to Corona. We have massive resource constraints. The federal government, the provincial governments are under a lot of pressure. I don't know where the money comes from, but yes, going back to the topic again, to a willing administrator, digitization always helps. Thank you very much. If there's anything else, I would be there.
Thank you very much for your contribution.
Thank you, my dear.
Yes, there is one project that they initiated 2 years ago, and that is being advertised on PITB website as well. Yes, you're right. You need right people and funding to run such projects. But again, coming back to the topic, because you have experienced these softwares are running in different departments and they are facilitating those departments. So do you really think, because personally, I've been in the process to design this software from last few weeks, and we are very close to it. I think we'll be able to launch it maybe in a day or two. What I want to ask you is where you have other models in the country and other softwares who are helping the departments to digitalize the system. Do you really think कि जो हमारे इंसाफ का इतना एक लंबा time है, it is going to decrease, and this system is going to definitely help the poor or vulnerable citizens of Pakistan?
I think if you want my honest opinion, it will be a little hard. As you're aware, Mr. Kalanori very, very, very pertinently pointed out that we need a set of rules to administer. Even if we set up an e-filing system, we will have to have a set of rules, set of SOPs, so that people can be made accountable, even on the basis of the e-data that we have or performances. But we will have to see. There's a lot of evidence that needs to be gathered, but by the look of it, my dear, it's going to be really hard. It requires a lot of serious effort, and not by one person, not by two people, a large group of people who actually intend to make the difference. It's not going to be even the head of the organization who decides to, I'm going to take the lead. Even the best person on top cannot do it unless he has a good, very robust, well-meaning team. Under the circumstances, I think it's a little hard. It's difficult. The digitization processes take time. You need to hone the systems, and then you cultivate people to develop their to take away their insecurities about the system. There's a lot that goes into it. So the end product is expeditious justice. I'm not too sure about that. Very frankly, I'm not too sure about that.
Mr. Khatana,
thank you, Ms. Sadia. I would like to add something to it, that one of the advantages that would be there would be that we would elevate the system of bribes that is involved in a lot of work that is being done in the High Court. And secondly, one of the risks that is attached to it is that we are too much into the traditional modes of the processes that has been happening, and for that we need to have training as well. In order to run this portal, there needs to be a lot of training, and we are already working on that as well. So, Mr. Zafar Kalanori, what do you think that an additional training is also required in order to start off with the system, in order to digitalize the court system?
Frankly speaking, I couldn't agree more with Nadia, but it is asking for too much if we believe that system will start delivering once we have this kind of software in place. To me, answer is big no. Of course, computer is a tool which helps, and after all, human beings, whatever they put in a computer, that is multiplied and it helps you. But just by introducing technology, you cannot say that we have expedited a system. It requires the other things also, like new rules, and like ADR, which I introduced over here. There is a bill passed on it. Now cases are being decided outside the courtroom. When in America, 95% of the cases are being decided outside the courtroom, you are left with less cases. And why can't we try these sort of things over here, and we have lesser number of cases in a court of law, system will improve. We have now new civil procedure code amended by the government, as well as we have this new rules CPC, which talks about expeditious disposal of cases and use of technology also, like service through mobile phones. This is the new norm now, and recording of all court proceedings electronically. We are having websites also and things like that. But the whole changes to take place as a, not in isolation with each other. Technology is one thing. Of course, in this situation, we are placed in isolation. We have to do few things from our own residences and offices. We cannot afford to have, so many people crowding the courts, and social distancing is the new norm. But, all other factors have to be taken into. You see, there have been interruption in this Zoom conference a couple of times. Why? We don't have a good internet, right? So if you don't have at the moment a good internet, but if a court hearing is going on and all of a sudden there is a breakup, and then somebody records something from the court, our court system does not allow live telecast of things, and you take it to the media and you create a lot of problem and lot of discussion on the media between political opponents also, and even court observations are blown out of context. So we have to look at this, that people keep it to themselves. You cannot allow everything to be washed and criticized by everyone. After all, this is a court system, and then this is cyber attack thing also. It is vulnerable to cyber attack news system if it is. A couple of years back, our Supreme Court website was hacked. We had to look at the means how to preserve it. Here you are having police records, you are having judicial records. If somebody is hacking your computer, this will be troublesome. We have to take these things also into account. And then as a cross-examiner, which I am, having conducted so many cases, maybe expert, I can cross-examine through video link, but I will have to have him physically in so many other cases, the other witnesses. I don't reconcile with that. And then what is the environment where the witness is giving evidence? If he is being tutored by somebody and somebody he's taking help from PowerPoint, which is not allowed in the system, and how judge is going to check it. So it is too early to say it, and I do agree that this will help, but do it gradually and do it with pilots, monitor it, retrace your steps. You can do the correction. This is what has happened in England or in America and in Singapore. They have taken 10 long years to implement it from the lower level until the higher level. Then there is literacy rate is a problem over here, and old lawyers with old mindset, they will not be reconciling with it again. And then there are some old judges also. We ought to have training for everyone, the administrative staff, the judges, the jail authorities, the police authorities, the lawyers. Are we ready to learn? There is no concept of continuing learning over here. We think it in isolation. And then there are so many courts which are not under the court system at all, like NAB courts, banking courts, these tax courts, these tribunals are not under the judiciary. So there it can help you so much, like if you have to take remand of somebody or frame a charge, why should he be physically present in court? At least in those cases it can be introduced. But you ought to have government on board as well. They can provide you like a fast internet system. They can provide you with funding also. But you have to take them on board also if there is a dispute, and a dispute arises all the time. Sometimes executive is aggrieved, sometimes judiciary is aggrieved, sometimes the legislature is aggrieved. We all work against us, but each other. We have to sit together and devise a plan where we are coordinating with each other. If we do it that way, then it's okay.
So you're absolutely right. While we were going through the budgets that they have spent on their e-filing in India, that was 1 arab and 26 crore rupiah in 15 years. So you are absolutely right. It takes time to develop because it's a software and it grows with time. Just technology takes place and then people come up and then there are new changes that we are taking place in the law. So we have to develop the software throughout and we need funding for that. Okay. So,
Mr. Khatanas, sorry, मुझे doctor ने कहा because I have a heart problem, I don't have to be very serious all the time. On a lighter note, I tell you something. एक मौलवी साहब मुझे मिले, उन्होंने कहा हमने अपने मदरसे को computerize कर दिया. I asked him how you have done computerization. उन्होंने कहा जी हमने अपना syllabus जो है वो computer पे डाल दिया. मैंने कहा आपने जहालत को computerize कर दिया. Because after all, content तो वही है ना जी. तो यहाँ पे जिस बंदे का जो काम है वही करना चाह रहे हैं. हमारे जजेस भी यही चाहते हैं कि जी सब कुछ हमें पता है. सर हमें सब कुछ नहीं पता. जो आईटी का एक्सपर्ट है उसकी हेल्प लीजिए, जो बंदा जुडिशियल साइड के ऊपर चीजों को लीगली जानता है उनकी हेल्प लीजिए, जो लेजिस्लेटर्स है उनका अपना एक्सपीरियंस है, तो सब काम सब लोग नहीं कर सकते. Here lies the whole problem. We have all the right people on the wrong job and all the wrong people on the right jobs. This is our dilemma and we do not coordinate with each other. और हर कोई कहता मैं बिल्कुल ठीक हूँ, साला के चीज ठीक.
There's another question in the group. There's another question in the group. I'll just read it out. It is from Mr. Altamash. Altamash, would you like to read your question or do you want me to read it out?
I can read it out. Ma'am, my question actually to you is, Ma'am Nadia, with
Yes.
COVID-19 in place, a very rather extraordinary event, isn't it the duty of the court to provide expeditious justice and at the same time save lives by introducing online systems that promote social distancing? I do understand that there are considerations. However, this is an emergency issue and requires a very speedy response. So what would you say to that?
Altamash, I think the corona actually came as an emergency. Nobody was expecting it. In fact, it started somewhere in November in China, but we were not really thinking about it. We weren't even sure that it could. So nobody really cared about it until somewhere in February when we became a little conscious because the death toll in China started rising, and I don't know really how we take corona rise. Pakistan respond in that sense. I mean, Pakistan's caseload has increased. At the same time, the death toll hasn't increased as such. Not the way, as our Prime Minister even pointed out very rightly that. Fortunately, our response to as our country's climatic response, perhaps to the epidemic, all right, let's say pandemic, as WHO calls it. We're supposed to follow the counsels. So we have been lucky, and still, unfortunately, we are told that we have to be more careful. So maybe yes, but my short question is a little difficult. Do you seriously think we can do our things, our trials? Do you think we are, our systems, our availability of resources is such that we could conduct the courtroom proceedings and even deliver judgments electronically? I think it's asking for too much. Asking for too much.
There's another question if you would like to answer that. Ms. Amira, would
Yes,
you like to
certainly.
ask that question or do you want me to read that loud?
Sir, I want to ask Miss Nadia that if the court system will go digitalized, then what will be the scope for the newcomers or fresh graduates?
I'm sorry, I really couldn't hear you properly. Come again.
Can you hear me? Hello?
Yes, I can hear you better.
I want to ask that if the course system will go digitalized, then what will be the scope for the newcomers or fresh graduates?
Nothing is going to take away your, or for that matter, anybody's bread and butter. I assure you of that. Digitalization, in fact, probably will create more jobs. By digitalization, we do not mean we're going to take away the law officers, that is the lawyers. By digitalization, it doesn't mean that the assistants or the helpers or the interns of the law firms are going to be laid off. Not at all. By digitalization, so far, or at the most advanced level that we can take it to is e-filing and recording of the data and recording of the proceedings date by date. Maybe that's all. That's the maximum we can do, or we can maybe scan documents.
But there are other things as well, like notices and delivery of notices and getting a copy from the High Court. That submission you always have to give like 500 rupees to that guy for a 5 rupees copy. So
I assure you that money will. I don't know how that threatens a young graduate. I don't know. I don't see any reason.
If you allow me, I have an answer to that. I believe this is going to help the young lawyers in many ways.
Yes.
We don't
Yes.
have a concept of law firms over here. Here we have individual lawyers. Individual lawyers charges a very high fee. He doesn't give even a portion of it to a young lawyer. Now, when a senior lawyer who is not acquainted with the new technology and a young mind is acquainted with it, he will give a portion of his fee to this young lawyer, and he will financially prosper, and as well as he will get a chance to be in the system and argue the case, and feel of the court for him will be something that will be there, but we will have to amend the rules accordingly. Actually, more the merrier. And this concept is going to help the young people, young minds who learn these new technologies. Not only that, when we went to the law school, we didn't learn so many things. Like we had no clue about the DNA, we had no clue about the ADR, we had no clue about the environmental law. We have absolutely no idea with regard to the white-collar crime, computer, digital, and forensics. Similarly, this e-filing is something new. Virtual courts concept is new. And the young minds who learn this and the old minds who, by way of continuing legal education, build the capacity of themselves, they will be surviving in this system. And of course, this will open up, opportunity for the young minds. And there is a hope for them. Actually, they should be, supporting this kind of thing. This is going to help.
One more thing.
Actually, Ms. Nadia, we're running out of time. We have only 2 minutes left.
Yes,
Yeah.
understand.
So I would like to conclude the discussion. Definitely, digital transformation, of course, is the key to making justice universal or portable or available. And the judiciary has to examine the available technology and adapt that works best in the most effective manner. So. Thank you everyone for coming, and we Khatanas Law Chamber are working extensively on this, and we are also generating a paper. So thank you everyone for coming.
Thank you very much for participating. We have tomorrow and day after tomorrow another session. Please join us tomorrow at 5 o'clock. We are running out of time, so we'll continue the discussion from here. Thank you very much, Ms. Nadia.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.